I'd always been the kind of person who couldn't resist a good mystery. That's how I found myself scrolling through the darker corners of the internet one Friday night, fueled by boredom and maybe a bit too much whiskey. The idea of ordering a mystery box from the dark web had always intrigued me. The concept seemed simple. You paid a sum of money, and in return, you received a box filled with, well, no one really knew what. Stories online ranged from bizarre trinkets to disturbing items better left unopened. Curiosity got the best of me. With a few clicks, I'd ordered a box and sent the payment to a faceless vendor. The description was vague. An unforgettable experience, guaranteed. I didn't think much of it afterward, chalking it up to another impulsive decision that I'd regret later. A week passed, and I almost forgot about the box until it arrived. The package was small, just a plain brown box, but it felt heavier than it looked. There was no return address, no markings of any kind, except for a single word stamped on the top in red ink. Open. I hesitated, suddenly feeling a pit form in my stomach. What the hell was I doing? But my curiosity outweighed my common sense. I grabbed a knife and sliced through the tape, lifting the lid slowly. The first thing I noticed was the smell, a sickly, sweet odor that made my stomach churn. Inside the box, nestled in packing straw, was an old, dusty book. The cover was made of cracked leather, with no title or author. It looked ancient. I picked it up carefully, noticing that the edges of the pages were yellowed with age. As I flipped through it, the pages felt gritty, like they were covered in a fine layer of dirt. But it wasn't dirt. I rubbed my fingers together, and the substance smeared into a dark, red streak on my skin. Blood? I recoiled, nearly dropping the book. The smell intensified, making me gag. I looked back into the box, hoping for some kind of explanation. At the bottom of the box was a small, handwritten note. The ink was smudged, and the handwriting was erratic, as if written by someone in a hurry, or in fear. It read, "Whatever you do, don't read it aloud." My heart pounded in my chest. Why was this book in the box? What did it mean? A rational part of me said to close the box, seal it up, and get rid of it. But another part, the part that led me to order the box in the first place, needed to know more. Ignoring the warning, I began to read the first page silently. The words were in a language I didn't recognize, but they flowed together in a way that was almost hypnotic. The more I read, the more I felt a strange pressure building in the room, as if the air was thickening around me. My vision blurred, and the words seemed to pulse on the page. Without thinking, I started to read the words aloud. As soon as the first word left my lips, a sharp pain shot through my head. I dropped the book, clutching my temples as a high-pitched ringing filled my ears. The room darkened, and I felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over me. I stumbled back, tripping over something on the floor, and fell hard on my back. When I opened my eyes, the room was pitch black. The only sound was my own ragged breathing, echoing in the suffocating silence. I reached out blindly, trying to find the book, the box, anything to ground me. That's when I heard it. A faint whisper, so quiet I almost thought I'd imagined it. But it grew louder, the words indistinct but chilling. It wasn't coming from the book. It was coming from inside the walls. Panic surged through me as I scrambled to my feet, backing away from the sound. The whispers multiplied, surrounding me from all sides. I could feel something in the darkness, something watching me, creeping closer. I tried to run, but my feet felt like they were stuck in quicksand. The whispers grew into voices, angry and accusatory, and I realized with horror that they were speaking the same words I had just read from the book. They were mocking me, repeating the words over and over, each time louder, angrier. I screamed, despite to drown them out, but the voices only grew louder, drowning out my own cries. The room began to spin, the walls closing in on me, and I felt a cold hand brush against my neck. In a last, desperate attempt to break free, I lashed out, knocking the box off the table. The book tumbled out, landing with a thud on the floor. The voices stopped abruptly, replaced by a deafening silence. I gasped for breath, my heart hammering in my chest. Slowly, the darkness receded, and the room came back into focus. But something was different. The book was gone. The box was gone. The entire room felt wrong, like I was in a place that looked like my home, but it wasn't. Then I noticed the mirror on the wall. I hadn't noticed it before, but now it dominated the room. My reflection stared back at me, but it wasn't quite right. The eyes were wrong, too dark, too empty, and the reflection didn't move when I did. I stood there, frozen, as my reflection smiled, a twisted, malevolent grin that did not belong on my face. The reflection raised its hand, and I felt an invisible force grip my throat, choking the breath out of me. The last thing I saw before everything went black was my reflection, stepping out of the mirror, still smiling, that terrible smile. When I woke up, the room was silent, the mirror was gone, and so was the box. I was alone, but I knew, deep down, I wasn't alone. I could feel it, lurking just beneath the surface of my own consciousness, waiting for the right moment. The thing I'd let in the house when I read those words. The thing that now lived inside of me, whispering, always whispering. I should have never opened the box. I should have never read the book, but it's too late now. And every night, as I lie in bed, I can hear it. The whispers growing louder, waiting to take control again, waiting to make me do something terrible. I don't know how much longer I can resist, but I know when I finally give in, it won't be me anymore. It'll be the thing from the box, and it'll be free.